Hello Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for Fire Force Chapter 229. When we last left our heroes, Benny continued his fight with Hibachi. Not a whole lot really happened last time. They showed off some more EI Chop forms. The real thing of note is Benny asking Hibachi to look over his Hikeshi way, and that was kind of it. And so Benny asserted once again that he was ready to kill Hibachi, even though he just did that in 227, but whatever. Anyway, let's jump right on in. Benny and Hibachi are still staring each other down. Benny says, "I want to show you my Hikeshi." And Hibachi just looks at him. Benimaru's readied himself. "Now's your time, Hikeshi." And Konro hears that, and Konro calls back to the troops, "Let's get to it, boys." And then we have our Chapter 229, the cover picture, which also seems to be a canon cover picture this time, which means it suddenly turned into night, question mark? I don't know, I'm not entirely sure if this is a real thing happening here, because on the cover page, on page 3, it is nighttime, and then when we go back to page 4, it's the daylight? Maybe? I'm not sure. I'm going to show you everything I got. Asakusa is my town, and these are my Hikeshi. Chapter 229, Bearing the Sun, which again looks like it's going to be the end of this fight. So yeah, anyway, if this is real, the Hikeshi start setting off a bunch of fireworks behind Benimaru as Hibachi looks in shock. And it looks like it is real. On page 4, we see them setting off fireworks. Seiya! Soya! Seiya! Soya! And Hoyan looks at them confused. What are they doing? Kareem, they're just goofing off. But Konro shouts at them, "Is this all you got?" And Hibachi just kind of scoffs. "This is your Hikeshi?" And then Benny calls back down. "Sorry about this, boys. The master crawled out of the grave because I never really grew up. We need to put his mind at ease and send him back. Show him how the Hikeshi do things." And then the Hikeshi all get on, ladders or something, posing. "Us! Let's go!" And Konro leads them all into battle. And Benny smiles down at him, and Konro smiles back. And all of the Hikeshi toss their Matois up into the air. "Waka! We're leaving the master to you!" And Benny lights all of the Matois, and he has this, fleet of Matois behind him. And Hibachi's still at arms crossed, staring him down. "You little brat. What kind of trouble you started now?" "I'm sorry I kept you waiting for so long. Let me show you my Nichirin. EI Chop, Form 7. Nichirin." And we see, the Nichirin starts to activate. And Hibachi just kind of grins. The Hikeshi then sends some more fireworks up. That kind of cover the sky between the two of them. "Here I come." And Hibachi kind of leans back and glares at him. Right as all of the fire comes, zooming towards Hibachi. And I think, did it just cut into Hibachi's arm there? Or maybe it just came right above it, maybe? "That light, there's no doubt about it. The Nichirin. With the Nichirin behind him, he's like a Kala himself. This is it, an Asakusa Hikeshi." I like also, by the way, how Benny's silhouette keeps the O and X of his irises. Anyway, back to the troops. "Waka, master!" And Hibachi looks down at them. "What the hell is this? You're just goofing off. Jeez." And then all of a sudden, Benny appears right in front of him. "Yeah." And then Hibachi says, "Yeah, seems like what you do. So this is your resolve, eh? Your Nichirin?" And Benny responds, "I'm sorry to tell you, but I always preferred this one." "You really are a goddamned idiot. You're going to try to rule both the sun and the moon?" Oh, he's going for his real favorite move, Nichirin Akatsuki. There we go. That is the Benimaru finisher. I also kind of like that. He doesn't force himself to be the man that Hibachi was. He is both, he's been taught by Hibachi, the Nichirin user, and Konro, the Akatsuki user, and now he's kind of combining them together to prove who he is as a person. Also, I just really love how the two of them are kind of stylized here. All muscle. Parts of, Hibachi's face is, smoothed off. It's really weird there. I don't know, there's something about that style. This just looks really nice right here. I also did not call attention to page 11, the very, like, stylized bit of a Hikeshi cheering. That to me is immediately similar to the laughing scene in the China arc. But was that like a laughing gas or something? I don't exactly remember the exact detail, but something to that effect. But anyway, a moon bathed in the Nichirin to glow an even deeper crimson. You boys really go all out. So this is Shinmon Benimaru's Hikeshi. And we see that, yeah, that did finish off Hibachi. He's just a severed head at this point. Thanks for everything. And he flashes back to young Benny. Not bad. And then he explodes. And then as, like, all the flames clear, Hoyan and Kareem have to, like, catch themselves. And Conroe calls out, Benny! Benny! And then Benimaru falls straight to the ground, not even unconscious. He still, like, perfectly catches himself. And Conroe walks up to him. Benny, the master? Yeah. I gave it everything I could. The best send-off I could manage. I see. He treated me like a goddamn idiot right up to the end. But you know, I always believed I'd see him again. I guess idiot was his way of saying he approved of me. And Conroe smiles. The Nichirin is something else, huh? And Conroe was like tearing up. Yeah, not bad. Benny looks at him. What the hell are you crying for, jackass? You and the master are both such stubborn fools. So I'm crying for you. And we see, apparently it's been nighttime this whole time, but I guess Ogobo just hates shading in skies? Is that why we've not been dealing with nighttime scenes? Because clearly we can see the moon turn red. And Benimaru kind of like looks away. And then we see the Solar Moon. I'm counting on you, Lieutenant. The brawl between the strongest master and disciple concludes, but with the matter settled, an even more ominous moon lays in the sky. Violent waves threaten to remake the world. To be continued chapter 230, The Cataclysm continues. That's an incredibly lame chapter title. It's like, it feels like Okubo kind of acknowledging all of this felt a little bit like a tangent, and now we're getting back to the real stuff. Like, ever since he just kind of Hibachi came barreling onto the scene, like 10 chapters ago. He was introduced in 220. Actually, it might have been the end of 219, as I recall. Let me see. No. End of 219 is, Shinra figuring out that Iris is, Amaterasu's doppelganger. Anyway. Where was I? But yeah, he's been here a long time. We spent like 10 weeks with Hibachi. I saw, so Jamie commented on my last video, and I meant to reply to that, but I never did, that, like, it would have worked better if Hibachi had been at least alluded to earlier, and I'm going to absolutely agree with that. Specifically, I think he could have very easily been included when Conroe was, like, first telling Shinra and the gang in Company 8 about Benny. I think it was after right before all hell broke loose in the Asakusa arc. Especially because that would have set Hibachi up as this, like, all-imposing, all-powerful figure from Benny's past, which is how the people of Asakusa already see him, and given how there's a moment earlier in the fight where it's important how Conroe draws attention to the fact that he's Hibachi as he's remembered, the, unstoppable juggernaut. I promise I'm going to talk about the Solar Moon in a minute. Let me get through this bit first. Anyway. But yeah, Hibachi, he should have been introduced earlier. He felt like there was no reference to a prior leader of Asakusa, and then he comes out of the blue and takes over the manga for a few months, and then he's just kind of done. And, like, don't get me wrong, Benimaru is probably my favorite character in this series. And so I'm excited to have 10 chapters with him, but it doesn't really stop the fact that, like, it feels like we just kind of got sidetracked. Also, I'm just not that invested in the differences, the different EI chop forms. This is not quite where my interest lies, and honestly, I don't have any thoughts on. I don't like. In that comment, he had mentioned that maybe it was just to showcase all the EI chop forms, and yeah, maybe it is. But I don't think that's worth taking up 10 chapters. So anyway, let's focus on the important things of what this has to do for the rest of the series, which is, of course, I'm not entirely sure actually what's going on here. So we saw the Solar Moon in Hamea's vision during the Obi's rescue arc, right? Like, very briefly. But what I don't quite know what's going on, is that we see the Crimson Moon. We see the moon. And then on the next page, it's the Solar Moon. And I don't know if that means there are 2 moons in the sky, or if... I don't know. And the interesting thing is, it's clearly there, but they don't say anything about it. Like we see the Solar Moon, and Benny's line is, "I'm counting on you, Lieutenant." Like, are there 2 moons now? Especially, interesting thing though, and I'm almost certain this is not where Okubo is going with this. If they're going the 2 moons route, or at least the importance of moons, is that we already saw earlier the importance of the waves as they become more in that traditional Japanese art style. And waves are the result of tides controlled by the moon, if my physics is not failing me. I've not taken physics in like 4 years, so I may be wrong, but I think I'm right there. So maybe that's all connected? I don't know. There is a whole lot to dig into, possibilities to dig into with the moon, and the waves, and Adola. But yeah, beyond that, I'm trying to think of anything. I already laid out my problems with Hibachi as a whole. The fight itself, though, it still has a lack of choreography that normally makes Fire Force fights so fantastic. But again, as I called out earlier, there is a little bit of thematicness in there of Hibachi's Nichirin and Conroe's Akatsuki at use there. But yeah, he gets his approval from Hibachi. I still think Hibachi should have been introduced earlier. And then, yeah, we see the Solar Moon, and I don't know what we're going to do with the Solar Moon. So I've run out of things to say, so I'm going to leave this video off here. Hope y'all enjoyed the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe, or, do whatever makes you happy, And remember, your life is your own, okay? Bye!